Hi, Gianna. So I just wanted to record a quick video. Um, so it was nice of you to reach out, and I haven't been teaching at Penn State for a little while, but I was looking at your code, so I did want to at least give you the feedback for what I found. So you're on the right track. Everything was looking really good. The one problem that I did notice was that you had a restaurant UI as well as this other class here called restaurants, and really this second one, it looks like maybe you used the form builder to create it. This second one is really the only one you need. So to start, what I did was I copied the code from the restaurant UI into the restaurants class. And I'm going to send you a copy of this code. I'll zip it up and send it to you. But I just wanted to explain it. So I did that because this really is not, we don't want to use this one because you have two of them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Okay, and heads to usages, delete. Anyway, there we go. All right, and then, okay, then when I looked at the restaurants form, one thing I did notice was that there seemed to be a problem with you didn't have a J text field for restaurant type. So I think it was a label. I forget exactly what it was, but so you want to make sure that you give this a field name. Oh, that's what it was. It had a different field name. It was called text field 1, I think. So really, you want to make sure that this field name matches the variable name that you're using in your restaurants class. So for example, here I changed it to say restaurant type for the field name. And if I open up restaurants, you'll see up here you had restaurant type as a JText field. Okay, so I had to fix that on the form. So the form needed to say that this value here, this text field, was a restaurant type. Then this label was giving me some trouble, so I deleted the old label and just added it back again as a J label. So we have a J label for up here, restaurants, we have a J label here for restaurant type. Also, it appeared that you wanted to include a restaurant type, but you didn't have that as a data field in your restaurant class. So let's go there next. So the restaurant class, I just added a string for restaurant type, and I kept it pretty simple. I said, okay, the constructor for restaurant, I added an incoming value for restaurant type, and then down here, I just added this too as well, just to make it consistent. And down the bottom, I added the getter and setter for restaurant type, and then added the restaurant type down here under type. Okay, so that took care of the ability to be able to have the restaurant type show up on the form. The other problem with the form was the name of the panel. The name of the panel is My Panel with a capital P, but when you looked at if you look at the source code for this, it was a lowercase p. And here I wrote a little note here, was spelled wrong. So you just want to make sure that you change it anywhere where you have My Panel, you change it to be a capital P. I think there was at least 2 places that had it. So you want to make sure you fix that. All right, and then it gave me some additional errors because if I go to Italian, because now that I have this type field, we need to make sure that we're able to provide a type. So for example, here I just added, since this class was Italian and an extended restaurant, I just made anything that used Italian was given a type of Italian. And then I did changed it in seafood as well, I believe. Yeah, and I just called it seafood. Okay, so that takes care of the constructors being able to create those. All right, let me see what else I had changed here just to make sure I'm going over everything. Because of that, here you're creating restaurants, so you will need to, it must not be testing that, but you'll need to be able to, I could have swore I changed this in someplace. Make sure that if you get an error, because Italian and restaurant, I just went ahead and gave it the right values, so you don't have to worry about that here, I don't believe. Okay. Okay, we talked about restaurants and we talked about adding type to restaurant. So those were the major problems, I think, as far as getting things to show up. Oh, and then in the restaurant controller, you actually had public class restaurant controller and then another public class restaurant controller implements action listener. So let me see if I can undo, delete. Let me just, okay. Well, anyways, there was a public class restaurant controller here. So look in your restaurant controller class, and you only want to have one class declaration, okay? And that's the one that implements the action listener. All right, so I got all that, and then when I ran it, I had the problem. This happens a lot when you're learning how to do this GUI stuff. And what happens is we end up with this little window up here, which you might not even see. There you go. And so it looks like, oops, sorry, I clicked off of it. It looks like nothing happened. It looks like there's no GUI window. But let's expand this and see what happens. Oh my goodness, there it is. So sorry, I'm being a little coy, but anyways, this is really common. So what's happening is you're never specifying the size of the GUI, so it defaults to just showing these little 3 icons here. I did not test your buttons like next and previous, so I guess I could. It doesn't look like they're working. So you're probably going to have to work on that a little bit, but let me close this. So the last thing we want to do is just make sure we set the size. So we can do that. Let's see, I think we can do it here is where I usually do it. So it would be view.set size. And we can give it a size. We'll make it 500 by 500. I don't know what the right size is, but let's go ahead and try it again. And hopefully this time we'll get something a little bit bigger. Nope, we did not. Okay, why didn't we get the right size? No, why aren't you letting me click on this? Okay, let me figure out what I did wrong there. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, sorry about that. So I was trying to set the size in the app.java. So let me just open that up again. But what I really need to do is I really need to set the size of the restaurant UI. It gets overridden because even though I set it there, if we go to look at the controller, and in the controller, in the constructor, you have, this is where you're creating your restaurant UI using the new restaurants. And so if I set the size here and I just pick some random values, 500 by 500, just to see. Now if I run it, it's going to give me a UI that has the 500 by 500. I don't know, now that I think about it, I don't know if this screenshot is going to be captured, but I think it is. So anyways, what I see here is restaurants, restaurant type seafood. I see a quit button. I see all the other buttons. Now the buttons don't work. So the last thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to, in here in this restaurant implements action listener, you're going to need to add code somewhere that handles those. So down here where right now it looks like you have the next button. But I don't know how many restaurants are in your list, so it's hard to see whether the next button is working or not. But you'll need to debug from there. But I really hope this helps, and have a great day.